On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
2015, we grew it from zero to now, Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies 2 years in a row. We'll see where we land this year. We stopped making small decisions. We hired better people. We took a lot of risks. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to kill myself to make money. I don't want to screw people to make money. I want to do it right. So if we both believe in that, then it's cake.
It's been a fun time here. I don't say that lightly. I do a lot of shows, and to be able to run with somebody that I know that you're running hard just from our conversation here today. What's up, everybody? I'm Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings podcast, coming to you here today with not only another king with another podcast who's making his way up in the ranks, my brother Avetis Antaplyan. How we doing?
We're doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Dude,
I'm honored.
How bad did I butcher the name?
You actually did a great job, man. Not bad, considering how challenging the name is.
Hey, you know what? I had a good coach a couple seconds ago, right before we hit the record button.
I love it.
Hey, in all seriousness, I'm excited for this conversation. You have a unique foothold in the market, and I'm excited for you to be able to share. Tell us what kind of business that you got, Vetus.
Sure, brother. So I'm the founder and CEO of a company called HIRECLOUT. HIRECLOUT is first of all, we're an Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company 2 years in a row. So I'll be going to San Antonio tomorrow for the gala and the networking and all the cool stuff that come with it. We're also Inc. Power partner out of globally all the companies, all the B2B companies in the world. We made the list. I think There's only about 392 companies that made the list, so not bad. So we are a technology recruiting and consulting firm. So we hire all the technology executives for like companies like Uber, Tinder, Hulu, OpenTable, Sony, PlayStation. All the big tech companies use this to hire tech folks for them, from senior software engineer to AI to data science to DevOps, from senior level individual contributors up to CTO, CIOs, VPs of engineering.
Wow. That's
one part of the business. Second part of the business is we have our own engineers, so we can augment your existing staff with our software developers. And the third up-and-coming business that we're involved in through a partner company is we actually can do the software development ourselves. So that's pretty exciting as well so we'll build out applications for your business with our own staff. You don't even have to be involved.
I love it.
And
anything tech related or personnel related, it sounds like.
It's everything. Yes. Everything, tech hiring and even some of the software development. Yes.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, so we're going to get into your story here, but tell us like the deep-seated purpose or why, maybe not necessarily for this business, but for you. Like maybe it is attached to this business, but why are you on this world? Like what gets you excited about life?
It's a great question, man. So I think for me, the business just happens to be a business I enjoy doing and I got into, but really my why is my family, right? We all have a reason why we want to succeed. For me, it's to provide a great life for my kids, for my wife, and eventually pass the legacy down and do something really, really. The better that I do, the more I can give to the world, right? So I invest in tech startups, deep tech startups. So that's giving back. I'm an advisor to a lot of different companies, giving back, teaching them how to grow their businesses. And more importantly, I give to certain things that I believe in, whether it's kid charities or any organization that kind of uplifts the community. So I'm big on that. Other than that, man, I always just wanted to succeed. I always wanted to do well in business. And that was my passion, right? I wanted to win. And once you get past, let's say, high school, there's no competing in sports. So how do you compete? You compete in the business world. And I got into the business because it was cap. There's no cap. You can do as well as you want to, as an individual or as a company. So I decided to get into the industry, and it beautifully ties into my why. So that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, I appreciate the dynamics there of the why, because you're right. I think that any entrepreneur that has a family is going to be mindful of being the provider and protector, especially if we're talking to the man. But that winning spirit oftentimes goes even deeper, because we can win as a dad, we can win in our marriage, but winning oftentimes is like that really like what beats the actual heart, inside of us. Where does that come from for you? Like you said, maybe sports, but like why?
Man, I just don't know. It's always been embedded in me. I've always been highly competitive. So if I'm competing, I want to win. So, I mean, and if I'm not good at something, it drives me crazy. So I
Right.
do it until I can win.
Yeah.
I remember in college, I was playing air hockey and I kept losing to this one guy. And he just said, listen, man. I mean, he was an absolute butthead, but he actually taught me something. He was like, look, man, you are good at so many things. You don't have to be good at air hockey too. I was like,
Yeah.
first of all, I do,
I will beat you.
but damn, that's pretty good, and I will beat you. So, I mean, whether it was foosball or chess or
Yeah.
basketball, whether I'm playing a world champion or I'm playing my little cousin or something, I still want to win.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just something in me, And I didn't realize how rare it was until I saw people being very casual and genuinely not caring about winning.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't care.
You
It's
don't
like,
care.
no, I don't. I really
Yeah.
don't. It's something in us. And I grew up with two older brothers. I grew up in certain tough neighborhoods, and you had to compete for respect, and you had to compete for affection. You had to compete for everything.
Yeah.
So that's how I guess that's how it all came about.
That's how it rolls. I got an interesting question for you. Maybe you've heard something like this, but do you think that you love to win or do you think you hate to lose?
Ooh, that's an easy one for me. In fact, you want to know how much we have in common? That's one of my interview questions, man.
Really?
Yes, I
Wow.
hate to freaking lose. I
Okay.
hate to lose, man. It drives me crazy. There's no right and wrong, obviously, in
Yeah.
this question. I ask it the same way of my interviewees, I guess. But for
Yeah.
me, everybody wants to win. I don't think anyone says, I don't love to win. It's just, I think it irritates the hell out of me when I lose. It drives me
Yeah.
crazy. I can't sleep. Constantly running tape. Now I've passed it on to my boy who plays basketball, and he sees how much I hate watching him lose and
Right.
how much he hates losing. But you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, it drives me nuts, man. I absolutely hate losing. And so I try to surround myself with people that have similar kind of passion for winning and
Right.
hate for losing.
Yeah.
Whether it's a business partner or my wife or my top employees, they have to hate losing. Because if they're okay with it, and they can put a ribbon on it and it's a learning opportunity, all that stuff. Sure. But if it doesn't make your skin itch when you lose,
Uh,
something's wrong with you.
yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I'm glad you kind of position that to that nice little bow that you can put on losing or failures, because we're going to get to one of yours here in a minute. But you're right. There's no right or wrong answer in that. They're different people. And I think that intrinsically those people are just motivated differently. And I'll throw you through a little loop here, since we're not on your show, but this might be opposite of what you've thought. I am a love to win person. And
Oh,
yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because I recognize the maturity that it takes to be able to take the loss and turn it to a future win. In most of my experience, the person that hates to lose, the way that you've described it is a little different. And so I'm gonna ask you a
yeah.
question here in a second. Typically, the person that hates to lose with like all that they have is in step one, which is I hate to lose, and they're a bad loser, like just terrible attitude, and that maybe you or I once before.
Yes.
But at some point, you don't love to lose.
Yeah.
You still hate it, and like you said, it makes your like
Yeah.
no, like just get it away. But the desire to win or to be a champion, a repeatedly win. I become addicted to winning. I'm more addicted to winning than I'm focused on not losing, which I actually
Great point.
heard you say the same thing.
Same thing. I feel the same way.
Yeah, but we had the same definition. You know what I mean?
Yes. For me, you know what it is? It's like maybe I'm jaded, but I almost expect to win, right? So, and sometimes maybe I don't slow down to celebrate my wins like I used
Oh,
to.
sure. Yeah.
Maybe it's like, yeah, it's expected. I should have won. Of course I'm winning. Of course,
Yeah.
maybe I need to spend more time focused on the winning, but man, I hate to lose. It drives me freaking crazy. I'm so damn competitive. But I've never been a sore loser.
Yeah.
I'll never walk off the court, not
Right.
shake hands. I'll never be petty. I'll never want you to lose so I can win.
And
I
so
just want to be right.
yeah. We're talking
I
about
just want to
maturity
be a
here,
little bit
right?
better. Yes.
I think that you have given a really, really great balance here, even though I hate that word too, but you've given a really, really good perspective, let's say it like that, of what it means to win. It doesn't mean that just because, we have an expectation of winning, because that's what champions have. Like Michael Jordan step on the court and expect to not win? Well, of course. Yeah, he expected to win. But just like you and I, he spends time on making sure that he doesn't repeat the same mistakes because it just kills him, or any other great player that you could think of. Okay, so let's just parlay this right into your history here because you're clearly a competitor, like you said. This beats really, really deep. You and I are both similar in this way. So how did they even come to be the company? Like, give us the backdrop of what you were doing
Sure.
before and then how you started the company.
So just like all of us, man, we go to college. I studied business and economics at CSUN, which is a local LA university, decent school. And then I got out and I was doing some sports programs at LAUSD, after school sports programs, middle school, elementary, high school. Then I became kind of a program manager, like a traveling program manager. I had 17 schools.
Wow.
Best job I've ever had, by the way. Unfortunately, you get a college degree and you're expected. I wanted to get into business, and I found LAUSD programs to be not competitive, and I found it not to be performance driven. And I love those guys. I mean, I'm still friends with them. Like I said, best job I've ever had, but I couldn't compete to be the best because that's not what they were interested in necessarily, right? It had to be more of a kind of, hey, like slow down. It takes 20 years to get to that next level. You've made it. Just be good. And I was like, that's not what I'm about, right?
Nope.
So I went into business. I went into an organization called Kaplan, learned, grew, got promoted several times. I was doing great. Company stopped growing. I decided I need to leave, right? I joined a company called the Mitchell Group. It was a founder, Jeff Mitchell, who happens to be my partner now. His company was kind of on the ropes, highly successful company that hadn't done well in the 2003 recession, 2002 to 2005 recession. I mean, he was still doing okay, but it had become more of a lifestyle business. He asked one of my directors who he knew, who's the best person she knew to help rebuild his business. So I came in, and first time I met him, I said, listen, I have three other offers. I'm ready to go. If I'm going to do this, I need to know that you're going to get out of the way to allow me to rebuild your business. Yeah. I mean, who says that to a highly successful guy who was 22 years older than me? Right. Are you going to get out of the way in your own business that I know nothing about so I can come in and rebuild it? Yeah. Young, cocky Avetis, right? So he says, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I come in highly motivated. 2007 is going well. I start drawing in my directors. I'm starting to considering bringing in my former Kaplan directors. And they're like, hey, you say the word and I'm in, because they loved working with me, for me. And then the 2008 recession happened. Man, for 2 years, I struggled like hell. Yeah. And now my wife's pregnant with my daughter. Wow. And I'm thinking, great. So I was going to go get my MBA. My wife says, oh, we're pregnant, and I'm making half the money I was at Kaplan, right? Rough time. So, for me, there was a decision to be made. Do I run back to the industry I was part of, or do I just burn the boats and keep going, and struggle like hell? And I decided to burn the boats. Told myself, there's a reason you left that industry. There's a reason you did this. So, I had full support from my wife. We had a kind of I wouldn't say chill lifestyle, but we had kept it very reasonable, very conservative. And basically the next 2 years, I worked my ass off just to survive. I mean, we had a saying, survive to thrive, right? Yeah. So survive, then thrive was our saying, just because we embraced the struggle. We knew it was going to be, for the next 18 months or so. It's exactly what we did. Got some great clients along the way. And end of 2009, early 2010, we started growing, learning, started making some income, finally feeling good about the business. Yeah. I became a partner in that business. I became an owner. We grew that business in 2000. I think it was 14 or 15. It was time for me to do my own thing. It was time for me to start my own company, right? And again, lack of ego, which is what makes my business partner so great. He says, hey, you need more equity in the Mitchell Group. I said, no, this is your baby. I want my own baby. He says, let's go build it together. It'll be your baby. I'll come along, right? Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of character he is. So I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I mean, why not, right? I mean, this is the guy that brought me into the business. Yep. He knows a ton. He's been a great partner, lots of trust. Why not? Yeah. It's just, I wanted to build something scalable, national, potentially global. I wanted it to be more tech powered rather than kind of what I'd call a regional boutique. I wanted to build something much bigger and stronger. And that's exactly what we did. In 2015, we grew it from 0 to now, Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies 2 years in a row. We'll see where we land this year. I mean, naturally we're getting our asses kicked a little bit this year, which is expected. I don't know if we'll quite make the list next year, but we'll see, but lots of struggles, man. Very, very challenging few years. We've been through 2 recessions, including COVID,
Right.
including 2008, 9. Now this 3 recessions in one business lifetime.
One cycle. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot there. We'll try to unpack some of it for the listeners. What do you think? There's a lot of people who would say never, ever, ever do a partnership. And your first experience with one, you got brought into it, but then obviously you've duplicated it into another business, same person. What do you think is like the one thing? You kind of already mentioned maybe trust. Is that it? Or is it something different where it's like, we stand on this thing or no thing?
Trust is a big one, man. Trust is a big one. I mean, over the years, we've had struggles together. I'm sure he's been frustrated with me. I've been hella frustrated with him over the years. But the one thing I could always hang my hat on was trust, was the fact that we can communicate. I mean, it's definitely more than one thing. It's to trust. The trust factor is huge. We always know we're going to take care of each other. Even if it ever comes to a, hey, you got to exit the business or whatever, it's always going to be done with dignity. It's going to be done with class. It's going to be done in a way where we both feel great. He's older. One day he's going to want to retire. I'm going to, obviously treat him like gold, almost like a brother,
Yeah.
So the trust is number one for me. If I don't trust you, then there's nothing to even talk about.
Right.
Doesn't mean that there's no frustrations along the way.
Yeah.
And I think, man, just like having the same, how do I say this? Integrity, I think, is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And sense of humor. Sense of humor has gotten us through 3 recessions together, right? Because again, we could be miserable, but if we have trust, there's integrity, and we do business the same way is what I mean by integrity.
Right.
Is we both believe in making money the right way. We both believe in never, ever screwing anybody over, including vendors, right? Everybody gets treated with respect, and especially employees and clients. Then you're good. You agree on one core principle, and everything else can be different. Like my partner and I couldn't be more different. I mean, if you literally had a opposite mirror effect, it would be us. And everything we even say, our style, our approach to everything is complete opposite. But the key difference is it's always with integrity, always done for the greater good. It just happens to be we have different styles and mindsets, So that's number 2 for me. And number 3, I think I said it, was sense of humor, man. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to kill myself to make money. I don't want to screw people to make money. I want to do it right. So if we both believe in that, then it's cake. Then it's about what approach we take versus, all right, you do it your way, I'll do it my way. No. We have to believe in the core principles. Everything else is just stylistic,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love the number 3. I mean, I think all 3 are fantastic, but number 3 particularly, even just as we got on, here before we hit the record button, it was instant. We were having a good time and being humorous. And I think when you have one of our core values is levity. And I genuinely believe, not just for us as Gathering the Kings podcast, mastermind group, family mastermind, whatever, kings bring levity, like in the recession, in a business meeting, at the house with the family. Like as the king, it's my job to not only bring, the hammer and the forward thinking and the vision and the press on, and we don't lose, like all the tough guy stuff.
Yeah.
But it also is my responsibility. What you're saying is to bring the humor in life and to recognize the humor in life, because
Absolutely.
there's a levity is this, like, it's joy in the midst of, right? And that's what I heard you say. Your partner and through communication, you kind of mentioned that, through the idea of trust, through the process of doing the business the same way and having integrity to that and holding to it, that kind of the rest is like, let's just have a good time, because
Exactly.
we've kind of got the big rocks like in place. And if we don't have a good time doing it, why are we doing it?
Who cares? Who cares? I mean, even just think about it. Why do we even get into these difficult businesses? So we can what? So we can have a great lifestyle. Right. But why though? So that we can give a good lifestyle. But for what reason? Right. To have fun.
Yeah.
So why would I wait 10, 20, 30 years to have an exit so I can have fun when I can have fun every single day?
Yeah.
I mean, in the worst, months where we've lost money, we're laughing and smiling. And even one of my leaders here laughed. She said, man, we're having a lot of fun considering we're we're losing money. I said, it doesn't matter, right? Every day we've got to have fun, because tomorrow we could die, man. And I want to go back. I want to die with a smile, not, be miserable. So it's
Yeah.
huge for me. That sense of humor, man, we need it. One of us is always keeping the other one up, right? You got to make sure that, if I'm down, you got to find a way to give me the other side. Hey, man, it could be worse. Hey, we should be happy. This is what's happening, so on and so forth,
Yeah. Yeah, we could go down the list of stats of, entrepreneurs that deal with stress or anxiety or, depression or even suicide, to take it all the way down that kind of dark path. The other end of it is this higher, faculty that we have as humans. Like we're the highest part of creation. We have this ability to be able to kind of come outside of ourselves or outside of our situation and go, you know what? I know we're losing right now or we're losing money. It doesn't bother me though, because I can see the bigger picture, or I can still have joy. I can choose joy. Happiness is like the emotional response to something, losing or winning in that moment. Happiness or maybe sadness would be like the emotional response, but joy is something that we choose, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Let's fast forward here. You start the company. You've got this great partner who's got a great experience, but it's your baby. Okay, fine. Let's fast forward a little bit here. Your first couple of years in, and you do this one thing that kind of knocks down all the other dominoes. I know you did a bunch, but what was that one good decision that you made that you would share with the listeners that if they could go repeat it would just be lights out?
Oh, man. We took risks. We took risks for the first time. Mitchell Group was a little more risk averse, because that was Jeff's baby, like I said, right? He's a more risk averse guy. For us there was a couple things. One was a very, very important person we asked to move from Arizona to LA. She was someone that had been with the Mitchell Group for years. And we said, hey, we need you to come out and work for HIRECLOUT. We need you to be in the office because we need some maturity in the office. We need someone that we can trust with our books. She was accounting, finance, admin, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So that was one very important decision. And two was taking risks. We opened a brand new office because we looked at it as, no, this is like, we have to do this right. Beautiful office. We gutted it, made it really pretty. We stepped on it a little bit. We spent money like we've never spent, in a good way, right? We stopped making small decisions. We hired better people. We took a lot of risks, right? We kept people when they were struggling. That was a risk, right? So we took more risk than we would before. We would hire people even though we weren't 100% sure, let's say, because I don't know. We went for it, I guess I think it was the risk umbrella and being decisive. We were decisive. We were signing a 5-year lease on that property, even though it was risky. We don't know what's going to happen in 3 years. Personal guarantees and all. We took a risk moving someone out, from a different state. The umbrella of HIRECLOUT's beginnings was risk.
Hey, kings and queens, Chaz Wolfe. I want to talk to you about something that's super important to me. We put a lot of time and effort, we meaning myself and my team, into this podcast, into the content that goes out every single day. And if you have been getting any sort of value or insight from this, we want it to be able to reach other business owners too. So we would love if you would like, comment, share, leave a review, post, share again, all of the things on social media, on all the different platforms, or even on the podcast mediums of Apple and Spotify. We would love to be able to get our content into more hands, more entrepreneurs, so they can grow their business as quick as possible. Together, we are building a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are committed to growing their businesses to new heights. So let's do this. Let's help each other. Let's help each other grow. Yeah. First off, you mentioned just in that one answer, like 3 principles from Think and Grow Rich. It's like,
Interesting.
This is all working, whether you realize it or not. As a successful person, this is what we do. Decision making, obviously risk, taking. For the person listening right now who maybe they're new in business or maybe they've been in business for decades, and risk is like, oh, I don't know. They're thinking right now, like, boom, I should have done that. I should have done that. It was a risk. I knew I should have taken it, and they didn't. What kind of encouragement or maybe even tough love would you give that person who's listening to you right now?
I mean, you really gotta think about what you want to accomplish, right? If you're okay with a lifestyle business, then keep doing what you're doing. There is no step on it, go crazy. You got to take risks based on your own kind of aversions, right? Risk aversions, and your lifestyle and your timing and all that stuff. But I would say if you really want to scale your business, you have to take a risk, man. And just think about it from this standpoint. What if you failed miserably? Let's just say you took the risk and you failed miserably. Could you start over and be okay? If the answer is yes, then do it. If the answer is you're going to be on the streets, maybe think about it a little deeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're going to take risks, do it with people that will take the risk with you, but will constantly give you the other side, right? Give you a balance. Meaning, for every crazy risky shit that I did, my partner was the counter balance of like, hey, but we got to make sure we have enough cash in the bank for these 6 months in case, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
if you're two crazy risky people going into business together and you're going to step on it, it's a little risky because you can grow broke, right? As they say, because small things like cash flow just run out of money. But if it's two risk averse people in a business together, forget about growing. Let's just call it what it is, right? Like, let's be honest with ourselves and say, we're interested in a lifestyle business. We want to be comfortable. We want to, keep up our lifestyle, and that's totally okay. And own that. Yeah. You don't need a highly, some of the wealthiest people I know, most successful people I know, they didn't take as many risks. They just did it over a 30-year period of time. That's okay.
Yeah.
So do you is my advice.
Yeah. I appreciate that permission, really, because you're right. They shouldn't want the bigger business because you or anyone else has it. They should want what they want and then follow accordingly to what they want. You said something interesting there. Said that, if the decision or the risk maybe puts you on the street, that maybe think about it a little bit more. For you, I know you can't speak to anybody else, but for Avetis, if that decision genuinely could possibly, whatever decision that we're referring to, put you on the street, I mean, I get the picture that you still take that because you know that even you on the street has figured out how not to do that thing ever again and has firm confidence that he can just rebuild it back up again. Am I wrong on assessing that about you?
Which Avetis? Avetis with the wife and kids, or Avetis single?
Interesting. You answer. That's there's a dynamic here that you're saying. So talk about that.
Big difference. So me alone, I do it because I know I'll be all right.
Right.
Me with a family, now it's a higher level of responsibility. It's no longer about me, right?
Yeah.
We talked about a balance. Balance in my business is my business partner who's more risk averse. In my life, it's my wife who is more risk averse and really not necessarily interested in the $3,000 purse or the crazy $50,000 trip. She doesn't care about those things. She's a homebody. She likes her simple life. She likes a calm life. And for her, that constant reminding me, we don't really need those things. And me stepping on it, and then she's saying, okay. And then once in a while I go, you know what, you're right. That balance is very important. So I don't think I would make do or die decisions at this point in my life with the level of responsibilities I have, right? Okay. So it's no longer about me at a certain point. It's about everything else. And plus, I put myself in a situation where I have a good life. I'm very blessed. So to me, it wouldn't be the risk would not be worth the reward, to be honest with you, because there's not anything more that I'm looking for that's going to make me happier. All I'm going to do now is just make a bigger impact, which is extremely important to me, but not enough where it's worth the family on the streets.
Yeah. The cost of what that could possibly be. I think you did a great job breaking that down, because there are lots of risky entrepreneurs. I mean, that's the definition, is taking higher risk than the average person. But I think that at some point, again, kind of come back into this word that we were in a few minutes ago, is it's maturity. It's a perspective as a king going, okay, well, there's a lot of people around me. My decisions impact more than just me. Even though I think both you and I probably share a commonality where we're willing to probably take some pretty gritty, decisions, there are other people. And now at this point, not just, wife, kids, and immediate family, but now, companies of people.
Yeah.
And those things have to be weighed into the decision, right?
Exactly. We forget about all the responsibility we have over folks that work for us as well, right? They don't want to risk it all. They don't want you risking it all either. So, it's funny because a friend of mine asked the same question. Why don't you step on it a little more, like to 10x it? And I was like, what are you talking about? I thought I was. And he was like, nah, man, you could go. And I looked at him. I was like, okay, this is a highly risky person. This person would genuinely risk it all. But I also see his lifestyle. He was single, right?
Right.
and you can't compare it to my lifestyle. And he was younger, and there was just different aspects of his life that would allow him to step on it at a level that I wouldn't be willing to. So
Yeah.
I think it's all just relative, right? I look risky to someone, and then I look like super risk averse to someone else, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, it's kind of a interesting perspective that you just gave there. You talking to this younger gentleman,
Yeah.
single and willing to take risks. What do you think your partner thought of you years ago when you got pulled up to kind of recharge his business?
I mean, I'm sure he appreciated the growth mindset because I kept him going and got him to think bigger than to just like survival and make a little bit of profit. I think
Right.
he bought in pretty early on to that vision almost, and I think he just went in for the ride. I think he was like, "Let's go." I think it's exactly what he needed, right? He needed a kick in the ass to like, look, we can do better than just have a lifestyle business here. Let's kill it. Let's grow.
Yeah.
When I told him years ago, we're going to make that Inc. 5000 list, he was like, "Oh yeah." I don't think he believed it.
Right. Sure.
I don't think he. Yeah, sure, sounds good, bud. I mean, some of the growth percentages of these companies are hilarious, right? Like you'll see
Yeah.
like 12,000% growth, and we were growing like 3% a year.
Right.
It's like you're not believing that, but I set the vision in my head, and then I did it. And it was nuts. It was nuts, and then to do it again was even crazy. And I think the growth was like 275% or something like that.
Yeah.
It was damn near 3x. So,
It's a big deal.
there's a lot of pride in that. You do it once, then
Yeah.
you expect it.
Right. Right. Yeah. You said you're a winner, that you kind of
Yeah.
expect to win. What do you think was the biggest catalyst for that? Like, obviously, you had the vision. You said from the beginning, we're going to go here, whether he believed it or not, you did. But then there was like actual work that you had to do, right, to get that type of growth. Maybe give us just a little snapshot of what that took to get on that list.
Well, you said the word work. Like that's exactly what it took. It took a ton of work and it took a ton of sacrifice. And that's the big one that I still don't think people understand. Like
Okay.
they look at the word sacrifice as just it's a word. It's like, no, man, it's an action. It's everything. It's
Yeah.
you waking up and you sacrificing comfort all the freaking time.
Right.
I mean, to a point, I mean, if I could be honest, frankly, some of the risk I took, not the risk, but like the sacrifices I made did put a small strain on my life. I didn't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
My wife and I didn't connect as much because I was just go, 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 you know. And I thought was very balanced life. I'd go to work, I'd leave at 7, go to the gym, go work all day and come home at 7, 7:30. And to me, that was like, man, I'm only working really 10 hours a day. That's nothing. I was proud of myself. I'm always there on weekends, Saturday, Sunday, at every kid's event. So I'm there. What I realized is there's someone I forgot, my wife, right? And I was just trucking along. So
Yeah.
it's sacrifice. Like people, that word is not some bullshit word that people say but it's like, it's real sacrifice. And I ask people, do you really want to make that sacrifice? And then they say, yes. But then I have to describe what that sacrifice looks like. Sacrifice comfort, sacrifice, like we have work from home days, but I don't work from home, right? I have a beautiful home. It's like sometimes it feels like I'm on vacation at home, but I sacrifice that to come in just to be available for my team. I sacrifice missing Halloween this year, right? Because I'm going to be flying out for an event. I sacrifice just things I've sacrificed along the way, but hopefully the sacrifices have led to great success, which then makes up for it 10x, right? Things that I couldn't provide had I been comfortable. So you really got to sacrifice a lot of the comfort of what people want you to be, which is, hey, I want you to be around more. You got to decide, is that more important than succeeding? It's not about money. Sometimes it's just about winning and success and what drives you. This drives me, right?
Yeah.
So I can pretend that I'm going to do it, but I don't believe it. You know?
Yeah, I think that there's also a moment, I can't speak for your marriage, but I can speak for mine, where I mean, my wife knew that I was a winner. I was a little bit crazy, but probably
Yeah.
very similar to what yours knew at the beginning.
Yes.
But when you have someone who consistently is running hard, and I'm talking about
Yeah.
at a speed and at a consistency and at a sacrifice level that most other people just, and I already know most people aren't, because I can look around. There's not anybody else until I find people like you on the show or other people in my mastermind group. There are not very many of us where you can look back and you go, oh, you've been running like this for a long time. You have been
Yes.
disciplined. You've been sacrificing. You've been keeping a good pace like for a while. There eventually came a point where my wife was like, oh, okay, this is not a fad. You're fueled by this.
Correct.
And then actually she got on board, not necessarily with the businesses, but with like,
Yes.
okay, in order for me as your wife to be able to be the best wife that I can be, the best part of this marriage is I need to be able to give you space to do this thing and also
Yeah.
encourage you. And then of course what that did, it was a both and me recognizing her and like you said, paying a little closer attention and not
Yes.
missing over some of those things. But it's like, then we started fueling each other and recognizing that like, I am crazy and I'm okay with that. And if you're okay with that, it makes it even better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's a sacrifice on both sides, because one thing that my wife likes to remind me of all the time is that she was part of the growth, right? And,
Oh, yeah.
and she's right, because she gave up her career as a teacher to watch the kids, right? And again, to outsiders, that looks like a luxury, and it is, right? Her dream was to be around and raise our kids.
Yeah.
But again, that comes at a sacrifice.
with you.
So I can't. Exactly. And I can't be a 9 to 5, right? I can't be a 9 to 5er and then you're doing that. So she sacrificed her career so that we can succeed in a big way, kind of at a higher scale. And you're absolutely right. It's not about the money. Like sometimes our arguments over the years have been like, we have enough. It's like, it's not about the money. You're not understanding. We do have enough. We're very blessed. It's we got to keep running. We got to keep running, right? It's that paranoia, but it's really, if you think about it, it's just the passion for winning and growth and impact and energizes people like us. And anyone that's not like that, if they don't understand you, you're going to have to change who you are as a human being. And if you have to change who you are, you're going to be less happy. And you're not going to be complete. So if I'm not complete, I can't help you be complete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that completeness or having fulfillment for kings is like what you're saying, winning in all areas. And I think that you're kind of tapping on a good point here is, making sure that obviously your number one mastermind is you and your wife. That's got to be in harmony. You got to be operating on the same frequency. But then obviously to put other people in your life, even like this, whether they're listening to us or just you and me right now, like we're going to both walk away from this conversation going, let's go.
Yes.
How can you not when you're talking to somebody at the same frequency who's talking about running hard all the time, not because again for the next dollar, but because this is what we do. We're winners. Let's digress here a little bit. We're on the same family topic here. I want to keep focused there. But my question in and around the same, this obsession, you gave us a couple of practicals here, but I want to dig a little bit more into like what you've done over the years, especially as you've become probably a little bit more aware. But we talk about being obsessed of all these areas, right? So family, business, faith, fitness, lifestyle, like you can have it all. That's my belief. I believe that because I believe I have it all. I don't have it. I'm not perfect in all areas, but I'm winning in all areas of life, right? And I'm tracking those things. It sounds like you are as well. Specifically around the family, marriage, and business at the same time, I don't believe in balance. But you've talked about how you've been able to kind of go hard or go obsessed in all of these areas. Give us some practicals on how you obsess over wifey or family or any other areas that are important to you while you're obsessed with the business.
Very challenging, man. I think you have to be there for the most important things, right? And you have to say yes to things that are important, and you have to communicate. You have to let people know, hey, I want to be part of everything that's important, but there will be things that I miss, but I'm going to really pick and choose, right? If it's a school event, you better bet I'm there. If it's a sporting event, you better bet I'm there, right? So if I set the expectations that everything important, I'll be there. And everything not as important, I'll be there as long as I can, as long as it doesn't get in the way of our success as a family. But they have to know that they're number one, I guess. And that's tough. That's challenging because it's not always obvious. Because sometimes you choose work, not because it's more important, is because it needs your attention. I don't have the answer, man. I wish I did. I think for me is I'm still learning at this age. I'm still learning that man, people do need your attention. And I would say it's okay to be busy all the time, but when you're with them, try to just focus on them. if I look back, what I've done better the last 3 months is I don't think I've necessarily spent more time with them and less time at work. If I could really count that, it's just when I'm with them, I'm really focused on them. That's
Wow.
really the only thing that I've changed. I wouldn't say it's enough, but it's enough to move things in the right direction, I think, you know?
Well, a winner like you is never going to just be satisfied with the way that they currently are. So even though you have maybe a sense of winning with this new
Yeah.
little strategy, that doesn't mean that you're done becoming the best dad ever, right? Like
No.
that's a mountain that you're heading up the mountain.
Yeah.
I think that you're spot on with the focus, especially since you're talking about attention. We have attention units. Like I don't know how many units that you have or however many I have, but there's a finite amount. And where I put those and whether I put half units, like if I got half with you and half with someone else at the same time, like that can sometimes eliminate the whole unit put together, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking
Spreading ourselves too thin sometimes is the opposite of the right strategy, right? Because we want to be all things to all people. You know,
yeah,
you want to be available to your friends, you want to be available for the family, you want to be available for your parents, you want to be available for you know, this person, that, and you start just spreading so thin that all they're getting is 10%, and you're satisfied because you feel like you're there for everyone. But the truth is you're giving up so much. It's
yeah.
better that you start saying no to things and just focusing on the one or two things you are going to focus on at that period of time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's a I don't know the exact switch over, but it's yes to everything just to kind of get some things moving. And then you have to have some awareness to where it's like, okay, now I have to actually say no to most things. So that way the most important things I can stay
Absolutely.
focused on. And you can take that same philosophy inside your business. I'm sure that you've got this history now where you look back and you're like, in the last couple of years, you've probably been way more focused on what moves the needle than you were at the very
Yes.
beginning. At the very beginning, it was just like, I'll take a
Correct.
meeting with anybody. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure.
Okay. Got one last question here for you. Avetis, I want to know if you had the opportunity to kind of reach back into time and meet the younger version of you, tap him on the shoulder, and you just whisper something in his ear. What do you tell him?
It's a really, really powerful question. This is why I should have read some of these questions. Two things. I'll make one personal, one business. I would say in 2009, I should have pushed harder to grow, because what happened was as the recession was going away in 2009 towards the last quarter, I knew things were headed in the right direction, but I was still very young in the business and I didn't push hard enough to grow faster.
Yeah, catch the wave.
And so that was a mistake. And we grew very mom and pop, right? You took a little bit of money, hired one person, hired another, really slow kind of growth. But that was a great lesson because in 2020, I think it was, we took a major risk in 2020 in the heart of COVID. And it was the best decision we made because, again, as people shrunk, I grew, and that helped us, really nice little growth spurt. And then this year, same thing. We're growing through a recession, not necessarily with body count, right? We just like most businesses, we've had to shrink a little bit, but I would say that's a good lesson. On the opposite side, I would say another lesson is slow down, which is weird, right?
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening in the last couple of years is I got obsessed with growth and spread myself in too many directions, right? Like, let's diversify, let's do this, let's hire these people, even though they weren't great, and let's try this and let's try that. And we didn't focus. We didn't really obsess over what was the most important, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This year we're doing it again because, again, we're having to be really smart to grow. And then from a life perspective is like slow down a little bit and make sure you give the proper attention to the family, and make sure you make the right decisions, and make sure that you're focused on the right things, right? Don't let things distract you. Be patient, listen, be around more, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good answer, especially when it's two-sided. You give yourself the opposite advice at the same time because it's real.
It is real. It is real. I felt it. I feel it in my bones.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that the listener takes that away because it's not lip service to be two things at once. It's, hey, pay closer attention, but also it's okay to press hard. In fact, if you had been probably a little bit more intentional, like you're saying,
Yeah,
slowed down and made intentional moves, you probably could have grown in those circumstances
absolutely.
where you had pressed. Hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Absolutely, man.
Avetis, tell us how the listener can find you. Number one, if they're an entrepreneur, they want to get to know you better, just connect. Or if they need to use your service and
Yeah,
hire
man.
some software engineers, or even potentially hire you guys to build
Absolutely.
an app for them, how can they find you?
Absolutely, brother. So I'm very easy to find on LinkedIn. I'm the only Avetis Antaplyan in the world, I believe, except my nephew, but he's not on LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. Find HireClout on LinkedIn. Easy to find. We have 70,000 plus followers.
Love
So
it.
we're out there. And just contact us. Avetis@hireclout.com is an easy way to just reach out to me, say hello. If we can help, we'd love to. If we can't, we can't. I'm an investor. If you have a great startup, I'm happy to potentially look into investing in your startup. You can hire me as an advisor to your company. I can help with that. And then you can check out my podcast. It's I learned a lot from your podcast, to be honest with you, man. So this is great. But it's the Tech Leaders Playbook. I interview MBA coaches, CTOs, AI experts, a lot of folks that have also know about leadership. I think the focus there is leadership and growth and management and how to scale your business. And so I think that's a good place to get to know me and all that.
Love it, man. We'll put all that in the show notes as well for the listeners to be able to connect with you easily. It's been a fun time here. I don't say that lightly. I do a lot of shows, and to be able to run with somebody that I know that you're running hard just from our conversation here today. So thank you for showing what people are is possible, being a king. The effort that someone's gonna be able to take to get with you, it won't be in vain at all. I can tell that you mean those words as far as reaching out and being able to bless people. So thank you for being here, brother. Blessings to you, your family, your business, all that you touch here in this year and next. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. I had a blast.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe, that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.